Hello. If you've been watching for a while, you may remember that I recently flew to LA to host a panel at the Come Up, which was an event hosted by Name.com. On the panel, we talked about all things content creation, building a personal brand, scaling and growing a creator-led business. And one of the things that we all really agreed on was that having a professional, polished place to send any potential collaborators, brand sponsors, clients, etc. was super, super important. So I recommend purchasing a .bio domain through name.com if you really want to own your name and legitimize your brand. And thanks so much to name.com for sponsoring today's video. I'm gonna leave a link down below so you can check them out if that sounds like something that you'd like to do. Anyway, in addition to the panelists, I was able to also connect with some fantastic creators on the Come Up at the event. Two of those creators are Amanda and Paola, who have both been able to successfully create brands on different social platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, etc. But they're really looking to grow their businesses and just reach even more people. And I'm so excited to be able to chat with them and share those mentorship calls with you today. So what type of content do you create? What do you do?
Yeah, so you can find me on TikTok. That's where I'm having a lot of fun, to be honest with you. I mainly post LA content and food content, and it's kind of just like lifestyle, kind of all over the place, and that's somewhat of my struggle. So I originally started on YouTube with my notary content. So it's very business oriented, very niche down, and I didn't want to continue to identify as that. So that's where I'm currently struggling, is learning how to pivot right successfully.
So tell me a little bit more about your previous niche. You said you did notary content. How long did you do that? And how did you build that up? And why are you transitioning out of it?
It was during the pandemic. I think everyone else was looking for an alternative to a real job, a 9 to 5. That grew really fast. I think I did really well with SEO. And then also, people are searching for these things during that time. So it was a mix of good timing and knowing what to put out at that specific time. I was doing my notary business, which is a lot of work. And then I'd come home and edit. And I really had no breaks. And then also, I think a part of it was me not wanting to identify with this niche, because I did this so I didn't have to identify with a regular job, So then doing this and that online, that was my whole personality. So it's ironic how that happened, because I was talking about not identifying with your job online, and then that whole thing happened. So I was like, you know what, I need to kind of take a break of it. I mean, I don't know if you said it, but I heard someone talking about this at the meeting. If you don't take the break is just going to happen. And that's what happened to me. I just couldn't post. So currently I'm just trying to, I think on YouTube, I want to do more vlogs, days in the life.
So let me ask you a question. What is your ultimate goal with YouTube or TikTok?
That's a really good question, because I don't think I asked myself that enough, but I think it would be, the goal would be to obviously work with brands, but more importantly, just to have that creative freedom, because I feel like I am a creative person and that is my outlet, but be able to live off of that, live off of my creativity and live my life however I want. Freedom, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, at the panel, we talked a lot about .bio and putting together a media kit in your .bio, in your profiles, things like that. I don't know if you have a media kit yet.
So that's another thing too. I think to sustain my income as well, I've been doing UGC. So I did create a portfolio. So I'm I don't know if it makes sense to send my portfolio to brands or just a separate media kit.
Yeah, I would definitely create a media kit specific to your content creation, because that's going to help with this sort of new niche, or the anti-niche, if we want to call it that, of separating your intentions, what you want to create and the types of brands you want to work with, from that previous niche that you were known for. So building out a media kit that has, some sample content that you really enjoy creating. Maybe it's that LA content. Hey, I went to this restaurant. And you use that to pitch to other restaurants or hotels or experiences or whatever. I think that's a great way to start solidifying that new niche and separate you a bit from some of the older content, because I know that this happens to me a lot as well. I changed niches. I actually started out in beauty and fashion, and some of my top performing videos, I deleted a lot of them now, but I still have a couple up that are beauty videos. And it's like, if a brand goes to my YouTube and, searches by most popular and they see a beauty video, but I don't make that kind of content anymore. So it's important that my media kit represents what I actually want to do now, as opposed to maybe what used to perform best in the past.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Also, that's another thing. I think I'm going to try to slightly shift away from LA content only because I want to move. So that's
Yeah.
another thing. It's like I can't really identify. I feel like it's another easy niche to get into. Whatever city you live in is like it's city-based content. I'm in New York. I would like to move to New York, so I feel like that would also do pretty well. So I guess I
Yeah.
could just switch the cities. But I think more importantly, I just need to brand myself with more of my personality than the things outside of my control.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. And I call them content pillars. Recommend coming up with between like 2 to 3 key content pillars or main topics that you kind of talk about. Maybe it's travel, beauty, and fashion, or whatever. Those 3 key things that people can know you for. And to your point about location, maybe it's considered more like lifestyle content or foodie
Yeah.
content or travel, or however, whichever angle you kind of want to spin it, because you could do that anywhere. If you, let's just say it's food or restaurants. I mean, you could do LA restaurants, New York restaurants, Detroit restaurants, like wherever you go, that can still be a consistent theme in your content. And it's not so much dependent on location necessarily.
Yeah. That's a good way to categorize it. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So we spoke about this too at the meeting. I think someone said that one of the platforms should be your home. So
Mhm.
is it okay that I'm not really, or maybe the question is, should I post more on Instagram? Because I really don't post like anything on there.
Yeah. I agree. I think that was Lisette who said that. And I thought that was a really great way of framing that. I do something very similar. So, YouTube for me is my core content. I think long form content has a lot of value long term. Like, the SEO value that it has. Also, my experience as someone who's created across all the platforms is brand partnerships tend to be a lot higher. They tend to
Yeah.
pay a lot more on YouTube. So, for me, that's where I prioritize. Then from there, I'm big on repurposing onto the other platforms. Instagram and TikTok for me are kind of secondary, but I try to make sure that I have something of a presence on there if I'm doing nothing else than just repurposing my content. So maybe you do a day of my life in LA. Let's just pretend. Well, you can just take like 30 seconds of that and make an Instagram reel or a TikTok out of that really easily, so that you're not completely reinventing the wheel and it's just going to take you an extra, 5 minutes in your editing process.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to build relationships or on Instagram. So my other question was, okay, when you put like your heart and soul into a video and it's just like, oh my God, this is my best video. Yeah, it's such a masterpiece. And then it flops. Like, how do you recover from that? Or what's your
Yeah.
process?
Okay, I go into videos, especially on YouTube, with no expectations. And I know that's really
Mm,
hard to do, but
yeah,
especially when it's something that I feel particularly passionate about, I try to go into it without expectations. And I categorize my content, in addition to those content pillars, I also categorize them by being either community content or discoverable content. So community content for me is like those, I do vlogs as well, weekly vlogs. Those are some of my lowest viewed videos, but the people who comment are like the OGs. They're like the people who buy my stuff, attend my event. So it has a lot of value. And they're just the most fun for me to edit. Like I love having those memories, travel and whatever. So when I post a vlog, I try not to even think about the numbers and just think about, what is this doing for me in a different way, either from self-fulfillment or relationship building. Like not all videos can be measured the same way. I know the
yeah,
formula. I know how to get a video
yeah,
on YouTube that's going to get a lot of views, just how to become a social media manager, how to make 6 figures, like, all of those SEO type
yeah.
titles. I don't want to do that all the time though and just become like an SEO bot. So I think it's important to
Mhm.
have that balance between those two. The discoverable content is going to be what grows your channel primarily, but the community content is going to be what keeps that creative spark alive for you and also builds those deeper relationships with your audience.
It's true. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like I was there And I think that's why I stopped posting on YouTube, because I was posting more personal. And like what you were saying, I was such an SEO bot. Like I know it did well.
Yep.
The channel was doing very well. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. So,
Mhm.
but it was such an expression for me. And it was so nice. And like what you said, it's so nice to look back on your own blogs
Yeah.
just for personal memories.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a really great way to look at it. No expectations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so
Well,
much, Latasha. This is
yeah, of
very helpful
course.
and inspiring.
Hello, everyone. We are here at the Come Up in LA with the wonderful Paola. We're going to talk a little bit about her content creation journey, but I'll let you explain first kind of who you are and what type of content you create.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Paola. I am 20 years old. I'm actually from San Diego, so I'm a SoCal girl. I do fashion and lifestyle content, also college because I am a college student, and I just love creating content. It's been my passion since I was a baby.
Amazing. Where can people find you?
So my handle is at paola.ochoa with 2 A's at the end, and I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube with my first and last name, and any new platform that's probably going to come up, I'll be there.
We'll have it all linked down below. Of course, let's head into the mentorship call. So where do you want to take your brand next? Like, what are some of the goals that you're looking to, I guess, accomplish with the brand from here?
Yeah, I think my number one thing is kind of to just grow more relationship with different brands and companies and build more partnerships that I can do like a one-on-one with. I've always been such a social media savvy person, so I'd love to do like consulting or, like creative direction for brands, or actually just being able to share, ideas I have for campaigns. I'm also a student that does marketing, so it's just like in me to have all those creative ideas. So I'd love to expand myself kind of on that side, as yes, still being a creator, but also being like a creative director, or like, helping a brand put together a campaign that could be coming out, something like that. But also just to keep doing what I love and taking it kind of like a day by day situation. This is something I've always been passionate about, so I don't ever want it to turn into something I don't want to do. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So what can I help you with?
I would say one is like, what is the best way you think to kind of monetize through like not brand partnerships, but just like sharing products or sharing experiences?
Yeah. I mean, I think affiliate links, I don't know if you do any of that affiliate linking, can be really lucrative, honestly. I think the key with it, from what I've experienced, is just making sure that it is extremely targeted, that it's obviously something that you genuinely love, but also that it's really in line with who your audience is. So for me, it's a lot of like software and business tools, because that's what I teach. And when I share a software or a business tool that I really love, people flock to it. I've made a really good amount just from affiliate partnerships. So maybe that's something you can explore. And that's the great thing with like .bio links too, is that you can easily curate and update those .bio links to have like your, different collections of like, here's my favorite outfits, or my favorite, whatever it is that you're sharing, my favorite foods, all of those different kind of collections built out there, so they're easily shoppable for people.
I love that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Kind of just like sharing naturally like what I want to do, like what I want to share, but also like being affiliate on the side.
Yeah.
Another question I had is like, what is your number one way to build like a one-on-one connection with with the brand? Like, what do you think the perfect or the best first impression should be to a brand?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Have you done any like cold outreach, or have you mostly just gotten brands coming to you?
I used to do cold outreach, but honestly, I don't think it ever works.
Yeah.
Um, brands usually just come to me.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think if brands are already coming to you, that puts you in a really good spot. But I do think cold outreach can work. I like to say warm outreach. So, what I mean by that is I like to do a little bit of digging on the company before I just reach out to, like, let's say a contact at Nike.com. Like, that's not going to get you anywhere, likely, especially for a brand like Nike. Like, that's such a huge company. So, targeting maybe some of those like smaller brands, like the more indie brands or the more up and coming brands, where they actually are probably doing their marketing and their influencer outreach in-house. That's where I would focus for the outbound outreach, and do a little bit of digging, like I said, on their website. Sometimes if you look on their like team page or their about page, they might have listed out who's actually in charge of press, partnerships, influencer stuff. Those are all terms I like to look for. If you can't find it on the website, go to LinkedIn. I like to go to LinkedIn. And if you click on the people tab on their company page, you can actually search their employees and search for those terms like partnerships, press, influencer marketing, PR, whatever. And what I actually like to do, I don't know if you're active on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So
I
I
am.
like
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. I like to connect with them on LinkedIn actually and just say, hey, like I'm a creator in the business and marketing space, really big fan of your product, whatever. Would love to connect here. And then once they accept my connection, I might follow up with an email that's a little bit more pitchy, that might have that link to like my .bio link, my media kit, that kind of thing, and just say like, hey, here's an introduction of who I am, a little bit more formal.
I love that because I honestly have never thought about like sending a message through LinkedIn. So I think that's like a great way because I do connect through LinkedIn and I get like the connections and like the emails and stuff, but never like have a full-on conversation. So I think that would really help.
Yeah, you could even include your media kit, for example, on your LinkedIn. There's a place to upload, different projects and things like that. So you can upload the PDF of your media kit there. So that way, when you are connecting with brands too, sometimes even before they get that cold email from you, they're looking at your profile and they're like, oh, okay, like this is a creator that we'd want to work with.
Yeah. How do you think we should react as like creators into a new platform? For example, Threads just came out. How do you think that's going to evolve and like how can creators, start something on there?
Yeah, I think it's always a great idea to sign up at the very least, explore it a little bit and, reserve your profile. Obviously with Threads, it's nice because you don't have to like reserve your profile and your username's already there. But I think, yeah, like test it out, have fun with it. I think that's definitely the stage that we're at right now with Threads is let's just have fun. Like people do not want hard sales. They do not want sales pitches. I think when new platforms come out, it is a great idea to just start like working those relationships a little bit because those brands are like looking at their notifications a lot and seeing who's out there. But I'll also say just on a more strategic front, like you don't want to burn yourself out. We can't be everywhere, right? So like not all of these platforms are going to be our primary platforms. You mentioned Instagram and TikTok are your primary platforms right now. And I say focus on what's really working for you. Try not to put the pressure on yourself, I guess, to be like, I'm going to post 50 threads a day, like just test it out. And then if you do say that it is working, if you're seeing some good results from it, meaning you're either connecting with brands or you're noticing like an uptick in your followers when you post on Threads, then maybe that is something that you start to dedicate more time and energy to. And most importantly, if you like it.
Yeah, I love that because I feel like a lot of people have the like idea of like it's a new app, you have to be in it, you have to really know what you're doing, you have to like get there fast before everyone else does. But I think it's smart to kind of like have fun with it first and see how it goes because sometimes you never know if these apps are actually gonna be successful or like worth your time, I would say.
Yeah, there's been so many new ones.
Every day it's something new.
Yep. I know. I'm like, I can't keep up.
Yeah. For my last question, I wanted to ask, with the creator economy kind of changing now, how do you think I should continue to like build myself while the creator economy is building itself as well, kind of like growing with it?
I think that it's a smart idea to diversify, meaning that, you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket. So it sounds like you are focusing on two different platforms at minimum, which is great. I'll also say, I don't know if you've started an email list yet or if you've looked into that at all. But
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because that's another even more so than diversifying your platforms, getting people onto an email list is really essential because emails, you'll always have those. Those won't change no matter if the cool platform is Threads or TikTok or Lemonade or whatever, you'll have those emails. So I have found in my business that really nurturing my email list has actually gotten me the furthest than any growth on any social platform. Are you doing anything with your email list now? Did you send like a newsletter? Or?
I don't have anything right now, but I just do have an email list.
Yeah.
I just don't have anything like that I've done with it.
Yeah. Cool. So I think just starting on like and I know you're busy, so whenever you have time to, in my dream world, I would say you would be sending out maybe a weekly or a bi-weekly newsletter. This is also a great way to build out your affiliate stuff. So if maybe you do like a shopping list, hey, here are the top 5 things I loved this week or whatever, and just linking out to affiliate links, linking out to some of your top performing content, or, anything that you want to share. I think that's a great way. That's a great starting point, because that's going to help really nurture that audience and have that direct line of communication to them, so that whatever you want to do, whether you want to sell a product, whether you want to create your own product, like they're going to be engaged and receptive to your messages.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this was really fun. It was cool to hear a little bit more about what you're building, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. All right, I really hope that was helpful. If it was, please leave one key takeaway down in the comments. I'd love to hear which portions of the calls were most helpful to you. And again, big thanks to name.com for sponsoring today's video. Highly recommend checking out the .bio domain. I have one in my Instagram profile, and it's just a really cool, professional, polished way to keep my media kit, all of my important links, contact information, all of that. Absolutely love it. And I'm gonna leave a link for you to check out name.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.